Hey, welcome back to Fake Deep Thinking. Sorry we're starting a little late. John's internet was down for like an hour and a half, it seemed like. But he is up. We're starting late. We're still coming in. It's probably gonna be a little bit of a short one, but we gotta,
You said,
yeah, right. We tend to go long, but we got a fun topic. We're gonna talk about the squatter situation. We got some articles that have been coming out the past couple of days and some viral videos we're gonna react to. So let's introduce the crew. We have John,
"What's up, blood?"
Doc.
Yo.
That cadence gets me every time. Ian in the figurative back.
Oh,
Hello, hello.
he has the
Yo.
same shake in it too.
I know it's the same shake every time. He's got it
Crazy.
down. And myself, Eugene. All
You-
right. So I told y'all we're going to talk about the squatter situation. If y'all have not heard or seen the viral video, apparently a woman in New York was.
We never have good topics about New York. It's always, it's always a topic that makes New York look bad, and it's New York's fault.
I'm not gonna lie to you, it kind of is.
It's
Yeah.
New York's fault.
So it's got the short little video, right, Ian? We'll watch the video and then I'll read a little bit of the article, but it's pretty self-explanatory. I think the video is pretty self-explanatory, but go ahead.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested
For what?
for being in my own home.
All right, so let me read a little bit of this. Let's get into it. So, a New York City property owner recently ended up in handcuffs following a fiery standoff with alleged squatters who she has been trying to boot from her family's home, tense footage shows. Adele Indalaro, 47, was nabbed after changing the locks last month on the 1 million home in Flushing, Queens, that she says she inherited from her parents when they died. It's enraging, the homeowner said of the squatter saga. It's not fair that I, as a homeowner, have to be going through this. Andalaro claims that the ordeal erupted when she started the process of trying to sell the home last month, but realized squatters had moved in and brazenly replaced the entire front door and locks. She said she got fed up and went to her family's home on 116th Street with the local TV outlet in tow on February 29th and called a locksmith to change the locks for her. A heated, caught on camera spat with the people occupying the house quickly unfolded. The police were eventually called and escorted two people off the property. In New York City, a person can claim squatter rights after just 30 days of living at a property. Under the law, it is legal for the homeowner to change the locks, turn off the utilities, or remove the belongings of the tenants from the property. It is illegal to do that. By the time someone does their investigation, their work, and their job, it will be over 30 days, and this man will still be in my home, Andalaro said. I'm really fearful that these people are going to get away with stealing my home. A woman who answered the door to the Post on Tuesday said she did not know anything about the squatting claims. I don't have to explain more, talk with the guy who has the business or the problem with the woman, but not with me because I don't know it. This is not my problem, she said before slamming the door. During the recent encounter at her home, Andalara, who was armed with the deed, was filmed entering the property after one of the apparent tenants left the front door open. After changing the locks, a man who said he was leading the property, identified by the local outlet as Brian Rodriguez, returned and barged through the front door. You shouldn't be trying to steal my home, a furious Andalaro yelled at him during the caught-on-camera ordeal. Following a flurry of 911 calls, responding cops told Andalaro she had to sort the saga out in housing court because it was considered a landlord-tenant issue. Indalar was ultimately given an unlawful eviction charge because she had changed the locks and hadn't provided a new key to the person staying there. The NYPD confirmed to the Post. She was slapped with a criminal court summons, cops added. Despite the footage showing other alleged squatters being led away in cuffs, police said no other arrests or summons were issued. I'll read this last one. I think that might be it. And Delaro said she is now being forced to start an eviction filing in court to settle the landlord-tenant dispute. It's horrible. It's her home. I'm glad it's coming to the forefront because it's a disgrace. They can just come and take your house. A neighbor who didn't want to be named told the Post on Tuesday when she asked about the ongoing spat. Squatters. I'll read this last bit. Separately, a squatter was also found to have turned a Rockway's home into a stomach-turning house of horrors by keeping more than a dozen emaciated cats and dogs trapped inside the property. That was what we saw at the end of the video. New York-based attorney Alan J. Goldberg, who specialized in landlord versus tenant law, told the Post the Big Apple has seen a 40 to 50% in similar cases in the wake of COVID. It's incumbent upon the city to deal with this issue, he said. It's much harder to remove them now because the courts are so backlogged. I think there should be a fast track court for squatters and license. They should have an expedited type hearing. So obviously this clip
how is the squatter able to claim they haven't reached an agreement?
Yeah. Go to the go down to the
well
go up there. Read that. I want to see that. Like, how do they get their rights to it? How do they get evicted eventually? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
First question, what are squatters' rights in New York? Squatters in New York State can claim a legal right to remain on a property without the owner's permission after 10 years of living there. However, in New York City, a person only needs to be on the property for 30 days to claim squatters' rights. Why is it so hard to get rid of a squatter? Squatters are allowed
Wait,
to.
they just move in, and if you don't catch them within the first 30 days?
Basically. But there's
What's the proof? What's the proof of the start date?
Well, here's the issue.
That's the hard part, yeah.
Well, so this happened a couple days. This particular go to the next article, Ian, from WSB TV Atlanta 2. So this didn't go viral, but this happened recently, and it shows the degree of how bad the system is when it comes to squatters. 77-year-old man arrested, couple forced to move after the DeKalb home is stolen in fraud case. So I don't want to waste time reading the whole thing. That's from WSB TV 2. If you guys want to look it up, not you specifically, obviously, but people who want to check it out. To summarize it for y'all, basically a guy forged documents showing that he had a lease with these people, moved into the home, got all their stuff. If you want, actually, what we can do real quick, Ian, it's just a short video. We can watch the video. It's that top left up there. It's kind of awkward. The top left, that small video. Yeah, we can watch that. That'll probably explain everything perfectly. I think it's 2 minutes.
Man is in jail for refusing to leave his home. He claims someone stole it from him. You can see the family's belongings all over the yard now, and they reached out to Clark Howard's Consumer Action Center for help. Investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln is live outside the home in DeKalb County. Ashley, this just does not make sense, but real estate attorneys say this type of theft is on the rise.
Sad to say it is, Linda. I mean, this family, they've been out here all day trying to salvage whatever they can. We're talking about more than 20 years worth of items on their lawn. They're trying to stuff it in this U-Haul truck. Now, housing advocates say this type of theft is easy because courts don't require people to show ID when modifying this type of paperwork.
This guy just come out of nowhere saying he purchased a home and just took a home.
It's a tactic real estate attorneys say they're starting to see all too often.
It's not fair.
Attorney Richard Olympic says they're called wrongful foreclosures or forged deeds. It's when thieves use forged documents to gain ownership of unaware homeowners' properties.
There's no people's court for challenging a wrongful foreclosure or forged deed. So that's the fundamental problem.
I just can't believe that this is happening.
Shameen Allman says she and her 77-year-old husband were forced out of their Stone Mountain home of more than 20 years.
I don't know how to feel right now. I'm just scared.
Allman's 77-year-old husband was arrested for refusing to leave the property.
Very upsetting to see my husband in handcuffs at 77 years old and placed in the car because he didn't want to leave his home.
She says she and her husband began getting letters in the mail saying they took out a second mortgage, something she says neither of them did.
We don't have no more mortgage.
And by Tuesday, this man told him he was the owner and purchased the home from a
Scams
foreclosure.
going on here.
Hey, it's Ashley with Channel 2 News.
That's
the
fucked
current
up.
owner ran inside
There's
after
two
spying
scams
our
going on.
camera
Did you see
and
that,
wouldn't
Nate? Did you
answer
see that,
any of my
man?
questions.
Yeah.
That man has already embraced death's doors. That man has tiptoed on the other side.
But that's the
That
fucked up
man-
part. They're taking advantage of an elderly couple.
How old is she?
I mean, I don't know how old he is or how she is. I don't know if he's like 10. She's old too. I don't know how old, but I'm not trying to be mean here either. But she looks like a grandma, a young grandma, mind you, and he looks like an old grandpa. But
I think there's a 20-year difference.
I think there's
maybe
2 scams going on here. I think they got scammed, and I think one of them, I won't say who, one of them is doing a little scamming.
that's fucked up.
Look at that. Did you see him? Only way I'm accepting any type of bullshit is if she said we've been together 20 years. We was together a long time.
I'm about to find
I
out.
don't want to hear we've been dating for 5 years, married for 5 years.
Well, they've been in the house for 20 years. Yeah, they did say
Okay.
that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I take it back. But goddamn, still
Dang,
seem like
John's
2
coming with the
scams.
shots, man. He was ready. Sean, like, whoa.
Man,
He was ready to
I've
pull.
never seen, dude. He literally looked like Death Living. Like he literally like, whew.
All right,
was
play. I
just
think it's like
scared.
30 seconds left.
Can you rewind it and pause it on his
Damn, John.
No, be real. I want y'all to be realistic here.
What's wrong? Oh, okay. So the video went black. Give him a second on the stream. But yeah, so basically to answer the question beforehand, yeah, people are forging these documents. So like the bar to prove this is extremely low. Basically, from my understanding, what I've been told years back also is as long as you have something of your own personal property to prove that, like a toothbrush, basically, that you have something that to show that you've been living here, I guess, to a toothbrush, like you can establish squatter rights. The bar is so low.
But is that like in a single state? Because in Texas, it's not like that.
Well, I don't know the severity of Texas, but Texas does have squatter rights also.
Yeah, but they're not as lenient. It's not like you just show up and you
don't
stay
know.
there for 30 days.
Well, you got to take into account to the location. People are more willing to do this in New York compared to Texas because New York has, gun laws compared to Texas. Like we're getting rid of some certain gun laws. You're muted, John.
How many
So like this,
houses
the
in New York?
fear in Texas is there,
Not even
whereas
a
the
lot
fear
of
in New York
houses
is
in New
not
York.
there. Or the
There's
fear,
not
yeah,
even a lot of houses in New York for this nigga to be pulling this type of prank.
to pull this type of prank.
It's so unreasonable. And then the cops pull up and enforce it, and then arrest the Grim Reaper himself.
That's the wild part. Yeah, they arrest him. In both scenarios, they arrest her and then they arrest him. It's wild that they like the backwards enforcement of the law, from my perspective, seems wild to me. Like she's the literal homeowner, and you're arresting them because they're trying. Like I think I understand. Actually, the whole point is they're trying not to where homeowners can just be like authoritarian, just kick people out willy nilly and force them to be on the streets and stuff like that. They're
There
trying
has
to
to be
prevent
some.
that. But
Well,
the way
Has to be-
in Texas, I just looked it up. In Texas, you get squatter rights after 10 years of being somewhere. So it's so that like after 10 years, if they
That's
lose their
reasonable.
job, like you can't just fucking be like,
is there a
oh,
30-day
you
limit
can't
like
pay
there
it.
is here?
No, there's no 30-day limit. That's only in New York. In Texas,
Okay.
it's the 10 years that was explained in the first half of the post.
Yeah.
You disappointing me every day.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a New York problem, man. Because in Texas, that's your property, man. Like at that point, castle laws also come into effect, and then that's a whole other mess. Like,
Well, it's funny you brought that up because I also got this other video. It's an old video because when this stuff started going viral, this went viral all over again. That's the other New York Post about the Florida sheriff. I don't think this specifically went viral again, but it's not necessarily related to squatters. But it's a 30-second clip. Go ahead and play it, Ian, when you get the chance.
Charges total. His bond's
I
$157,500.
don't think you're sharing it in the Discord, so we can't see it if you. There you go.
7 charges total. His bond's $157,500. And I want to say, as to the person, we don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. So whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday, and if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
Did that actually play, Ian, the audio at least?
Run it back.
Okay, that's fine. What do you say, John? Ian's trying to fix the feed because right now that keeps going black on the live.
Okay, that's fine.
But basically said, because I think that was a home invasion, and the homeowner shot that guy, and I don't know.
On the run.
He just didn't turn himself in. And I guess the cop was telling me, like, hey, man, it's no big deal. Come forward. Like, what you didn't do anything wrong. We prefer that you did that. We promote that y'all do that. And y'all should come get some gun training also, just in case.
So he had to have gone on the run because they had to come collect the body, no?
Well, the home invader could have probably, like, fled,
Okay.
got away, and then eventually, like, got caught with a gun wound. Maybe. And probably confessed, like, I got shot because I was trying to invade, and the guy shot me, maybe. Like,
He did
something
a
like
lot
that.
after getting shot.
Right? So, and the reason why I think this is going viral is because, how do I frame this? I'm not saying that people will start doing this, but it seems like this went viral for a reason. The sentiment that people wanted to actually defend themselves and not relying on the laws that be to defend them. That sentiment or reliance is becoming less and less, and the sentiment of another means is becoming more and more. If that makes sense.
Well, I could definitely see it going viral in states or with people who don't believe in, you know, gun habits, or even like states that are trying to suppress gun laws as much as possible, and they're just like, oh my god, they would rather you shoot people instead of calling the police and calling the authorities. And
police can't do anything.
well, I mean, they're not going to get there in time. That's the sad
Well,
truth about it.
Well, I'm talking about specific situation of squatters.
Oh,
Like literally, police can't do anything because in this
was he
situation of
shooting at a
squatters,
squatter, or was he shooting at a home invader?
probably a home invader.
Yeah,
That's
that
why I
makes more
said
sense.
this clip was unrelated to squatters, but it went viral again because of the viralness of the squatter situation. Because people are basically saying, why can't you just shoot them? And obviously you can't because squatter rights can't do that and blah blah X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And they're trying to equate it to it's basically a home invasion, and I kind of agree, like honestly. But they can't enact like castle doctrine laws because it's different. Like there's castle doctrine laws, like home invasion, there's squatter stuff, but it's a very fine line, and we're trying to shed light on we need to address this line because people are losing their homes, blatantly getting robbed of their own homes they've lived in for over 20 years because of these very crappy laws that make no sense.
It's got its own problems for sure. Like if you're in New York and you have property and you show up and the squatters, like, you can't defend yourself to reclaim your property, or you can't enact any kind of enforcement of your own rights over it. Like,
well, it's not to defend yourself. It's like, for example, in Texas, if you have the right to retrieve your property by any means necessary, there's some, like, obviously some nuance to this, but you can retrieve your property if it's stolen from you, and if you happen to kill the guy in the process, like, there's some nuance to that. I got to legally defend yourself, obviously, in all cases. I'm not a lawyer. Don't take my advice for this. Everyone look this up. But you can retrieve your property if lethal action happens. If you're in Texas, you technically speaking get a little bit more benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you have more. There's just more potential for enforcement in like
exactly
New York.
And why can't that be the same situation as this home invasion and squatter stuff? Like that's why arguments and discussion being happening. Like, why can I not, in this instance, physically force this person out of the home, or damn near just straight up shoot him?
Well, I think it's
I'm not advocating for that.
I'm just saying. Though, like, so in Texas, having been a renter most of my life in the state of Texas, I can tell you right now, the corporations have all the power. Basically, the homeowners have all the power. So if you're renting from a mom and pa, the mom and pa, if I go up to him and like, hey, will you work with me and stuff like that? I've just left my job, et cetera, et cetera. They're more likely to be like, yeah, you've been a homeowner for 10 years here, or you've been renting for 5 or 6 years. Like, I'll give you this month, whatever, and we can keep going. within renting here, and I have had some corporations, so it's not all of them, but corporations, especially from New York, buy out land here, which is ironic, right? They buy out land here, they have condos here. Some of them have been cool and given me like times of extension during hardships, but other ones have just been like, oh, sucks to suck, deuces, like because they have all the rights and I have like no ability to defend myself. If I don't make the rent, like they can immediately start an eviction process because in Texas, renters have no rights whatsoever. So it's exploitation of both sides. Like you have corporations exploiting the homeowner laws here in Texas, but then if I was to go to New York, I have the potential to exploit homeowners. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Because for me, when I would talk to people from California, one thing I thought was interesting was like, damn, you lost your job. Like the state still kind of protects you from getting completely evicted. It holds back the homeowner at least for a little while, and that's kind of the intention, like so you can get back on your feet. It's not completely
But
over the
that makes
homeowner,
sense though. That makes sense though.
exactly, but you still have, like I said, corporations and people on both sides for both aspects of homeownership exploiting whatever they can.
I understand the point you're trying to make. I just think the means that we've gone to give these rights to prevent some exploitation has obviously gone too far. That's the only issue. Like we're highlighting, it's gone too far, and in specific locations, it can be worse. Specifically, as we keep mentioning New York, it like it'll be bringing up another situation as to why this is also becoming fearful to a lot of people. Here, go to the next one, the last one, in the TikToker. So we talked about this guy last time about the whole border thing. And this guy went viral again because he is trying to spread information to other people, mainly, I guess, illegal immigrants or immigrants, period, on how to do this squatter thing. So go ahead and play the video, Ian.
Mi gente, he pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla.
Ian, you trying to say something, John, or are you just making a note of something?
He's Venezuelan, no?
That's what I said.
Venezuela does not like us.
Yeah. All right, go ahead and play it, Ian.
The house came with something unexpected. A man living in their home who they say refuses to leave.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
Being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
All right. So as that quick video, I just wanted to point out that he made that video and it went viral and he's getting obvious backlash from it. I think a quick update. I think he ended up getting his account's context. I think he ended up getting his account deleted because of this video. And he then put another video out, create another account, crying, using his child, not on his face, obviously trying to appeal to emotion, trying to get people to feel bad for him, X, Y, and Z. So context there, like people aren't necessarily like having good reactions to this, but nevertheless, the information of the ability to take advantage of this crappy squatter stuff has been spread. And obviously New Yorkers, I think justifiably, and in other, in my opinion, liberal cities should be afraid.
Is his explanation of the law in the video accurate?
Say that again?
Is his explanation of the law in the video accurate?
I don't know how detailed he goes. The account got deleted.
It cuts off before, or at least even the video itself cuts off before he explains the law. He's just kind of like throwing it up that it's out there. I'm sure most
Like
people
a
watch
general.
I mean, I doubt it's hard to find that information that you just got to duck people for 30 days and then you finally get in. And then it takes
I
like
just
6
think this
months.
nigga don't like America. I just think he's anti-America.
I think a lot of people are anti-America, and he's one of them.
Like I literally see him as like, a terrorist. Like That's how I view it, especially when I hear Venezuelan or if I hear Argentinian. Like, there's certain countries that sincerely just don't fuck with us, bro. Like, long history don't fuck with us at all. That's one of them. So, like, when I hear that and then I see it's not like he's attacking a small community. He didn't say come to this city. He didn't specify any of that. He stated it generally as if he wanted an invasion.
Yeah, I don't really get his platform. Like, you came here, and then you're kind of coming in as like an insurgent. Like,
I just don't think he's a smart man. I just think he understands in America, if you become a quote unquote influencer, you can garner a level of wealth. So his whole stick was, I'm going to share my message, my experience of coming to America, and people can come through my experience and have success as he sees it. So he's just,
so you think
so,
he's a sociopath where he's just only out for himself and is just trying to
yes,
pull out for it?
yes.
Shit like a South Park episode, because oh God, I'll
Yeah,
just
dude.
do the same thing. I'll re-squat in my shit, nigga. You can't out-squat me, nigga.
Yeah.
I'm
He'll
finna
do
squat
fine.
the squatter, nigga.
Well, maybe I should have found this to go along with this, but there's actually a guy who's becoming the squatter hunter. Let me see if I can look him up real quick.
That's fucked up.
And also context. Apparently, in that
Hey,
situation that we
Hey,
saw,
I don't know
what's
why
the
it sounds
squatter
like
hunter's ethnicity?
it sounds like a fucking.
it's a white guy.
It's like a Warhammer character, the Squatter Hunter.
CNN.
Sounds like a guy who likes thick thighs.
That's it.
Here. Control Ian. I'm putting it into the topics tab right now. It's in the topics tab. I think it's a short one from CNN.
Why does he look exactly how I imagined he would look? Why does
Go ahead and play the video, Ian.
dog the squatter?
Can you outsmart a squatter at their own game? A California handyman is helping hundreds of frustrated homeowners retake control of their properties from trespassers who refuse to leave. Flash Shelton wanted to help his mother sell her home after his father passed, but a squatter derailed their plans. Due to California's squatter laws, removing a trespasser can take weeks or months and can cost tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees. Police officers are also rarely able to intervene. So Shelton moved in with the squatter by having his mother rent her home to him as the new leaseholder. After confronting the squatter and installing surveillance cameras, the trespasser was out within a matter of hours. Shelton posted the entire experience on his YouTube channel, which got millions of views. Helping his mom gave Shelton the idea of launching Squatter Hunters, which allows homeowners to hire he and his team. The plan is simple. Live with the squatter, dirty the bathroom, take the best spot on the couch, hog the TV, blast music, eat their Cheetos. His business only works with squatters, which is different from a leaseholder or a tenant. Even those who stopped paying rent a long time ago still have rights. A squatter, on the other hand, is somebody who trespasses and stays on the property without permission, and believe it or not, they're innocent until proven guilty. Homeowners can't simply go in and drag them out without exposing themselves to potential lawsuits. Joining me now, the squatter hunter, Flash Shelton. Flash, good to see you. Tell me about the caregiver for the elderly that you had to displace.
Yeah, she
How is his
posed as a
name
caregiver and wasn't caregiving. The homeowner,
Love that it's
88-year-old
Flash.
woman, fired her. The company that she hired her through said, you know, she's fired, but there's nothing we can do. We can't help you get her out of the house. And she's been stuck with her for 2 years.
How'd you get her out?
I caught her climbing in a window, and that's a case that's ongoing. That's a recent case right now, and I'm working with social services. You know, the difficult ones are ones that are, she's barricaded in a bedroom. No electricity, no bathroom. She climbs in and out of a bedroom window. Those are difficult.
How about the case in Woodland Hills that the LA Times wrote about?
So in some cases, violent criminals, if a felon, they're not allowed to live, you know, in a house with a firearm. So when I find this out, I basically move into the house, sit down with them with a firearm exposed and say, you know, we can call the police, but I think it'll be a parole violation for you. And that quickly gets them out, because if I'm a resident, they can't be.
Flash, we've tracked the problem of homelessness all across the country, but most pronounced on the West Coast. Is this tied to homelessness?
I don't believe so. In the hundreds of cases I've dealt with, I have not come across it being homeless. I have a heart for homeless. My family was homeless when I was young. And when I do come across homeless, I'll give them services and help relocate them. But no, squatters are people, they are just, self-entitled, narcissistic people that just don't care how they affect other people.
Are they remorseful?
No. I mean, you can see in one of my videos, I did an intervention and he called himself a victim.
I still don't get why law enforcement, I don't understand why you're needed. Why can't law enforcement deal with this situation? What are the handcuffs, figurative, that they are facing?
Well, I think the main reason is because the lines are blurred between squatters and tenants. And even though squatter laws and rights were originally adapted in the 1800s, they've kind of just blurred and become, just in the same lines. And there needs to be a clear distinction with the law. It needs to be squatters criminal, tenants civil.
I smell TV show. Is it in the works?
It's in the works.
That's fun.
Basin High School
like every
is
episode just walks
relocating
in,
at the end of
sits
the
down with a
summer, and the
pistol.
students thought it would be really cool.
Yeah, so that's wild. It's a smart strategy. All he's basically doing is getting the person to legally and actually sign him a lease, and then he goes in there like, I can be here. You can't kick me out either. And he just makes the living situation so unbearable.
Yeah, he just basically flips it on them and just makes it really awkward for them.
That's hilarious.
Dude, he just causes psychological fucking warfare on them. Like, he doesn't stop
Dude, that's what it is.
music, fucking watches TV the entire time. It's
That's hilarious.
That's actually pretty fucking funny. I'm not gonna lie.
It's literally the best job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like dangerous because you're always dealing with crazy people.
But it is dangerous, but it'd be to his benefit for his job, because once they do that, then obviously they have grounds to, hey, you're out now. Thanks, you assaulted me. Cops, get him out of here.
Yeah. And honestly, he probably
Get him
always has a firearm with him or something like that because he knows
And-
he's.
And if you saw in the clip when he was towards the end when he was talking to the cops, it looks like he has like a chest camera. So he's probably recording all his incidents for legal purposes too.
Yeah.
So like even like if they're dumb enough to do something like that, like yes, it's dangerous, but like he's like, gotcha. And if he's insured properly too, like he's not going to sue them because I don't know if they have money like that because they're squatting. But
I hope he got a YouTube channel because that is definitely knows that I was subscribed to.
Yeah, he could
I mean,
actually blow that
he's
up.
getting a show apparently. So
Fuck that show. Him the YouTube channel. He tripping.
so yeah, well, that's because the market's kind of changed now. Everyone's all about the streaming platforms with their entertainment.
Also, what channel would do a show like that justice? And the True TV is mostly made up shit, so you'll feel like you're watching something scripted as opposed to what he's actually doing, which is pure entertainment.
That's actually a very good question. I can't answer that. I wouldn't know. If it was a Netflix show, I'd watch it, but that's a streaming platform similar to YouTube. So
I mean, I would be fine with Netflix, but it'd have to be a series.
Yeah,
I can see it. I mean, if what is it, Tiger Joe or whatever got his show, he can be on Netflix.
Remember the Bounty Hunter?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can
yeah.
totally believe Netflix.
Yeah, whatever Dog the Bounty Hunter's show aired on when it was on TV, that channel would pick it up. I thought he was gonna look like Dog the Bounty Hunter, but he didn't look like what I expected it to.
I mean, he could. All he has to do is just put on the glass and the wig and
He
just
wasn't
spitting
far.
image
He
and
wasn't
then go
far.
grow out the mustache. Like he's not that
Not
far.
far. He had the gold chain.
Put
He had the gold chain tucked.
Yeah.
The bulletproof vest.
His name was Flash.
I know. I love that. I hope that's an alias that he's using.
No, talking about he grew up poor. He grew up, man, his parents did meth. His name's Flash.
His name's Flash. That's insane. That's messed up. So yeah, we're at 35 minutes. I think that's got no else to say about this. We got a squatter problem. Sentiments are going obviously negative about it. You got a guy doing a video about how to get rid of squatters. Uh, Immigrants rise. That's guy spreading the whole news about it. In New York, they might have an actual issue. This actually might be an issue. Business is booming for squatter hunter and other people alike. So it's kind of funny. America capitalist, the problem solves itself. There's opportunity. Oh, you have a squatter problem? I'll just become a squatter hunter. Boom. The issue though is only certain people can afford that because obviously I don't know if they mentioned his fees, but I think he charges like depending on like the length of it, like a few $1,000s.
I mean, if I'm being honest with you, people are going to
You
measure
charge
that up
money to
against
get rid of them rats.
the
What
lawyer
happened to
fees,
stream?
man. He might be cheaper than a lawyer.
That's a valid point. I think that's what Miss
You go
Christie's
out?
point. Because I think that
Window
was Miss
change.
Christie's point in her comment. She said, yes, in Texas, they do have to occupy the property for more than 10 years. However, you still have to go through the eviction process to get them out of your home if they are found inhabiting. So that's literally lawyer fees and that in process and X, Y, and Z. And yeah, it might be cheaper just to buy a squatter hunter and be like, hey, can you just deal with this? $4,000? Yeah, I'll pay you $4,000 to get rid of this instead of like 10,000 in lawyer fees.
Yeah, that's like the first year of the lawyer.
So yeah, that makes sense. Opportunity opens itself up. People are going to take it. I
Question.
just, I just think it's wild. This
If I open the door to my home, squatters in there, I shoot them.
but that's the literal example
I
of the
never,
Georgia scenario.
I never got whatever claim they say they had to this property. I never had, and they weren't able to present it to me because they're dead.
No, exactly. You could probably argue that was I thought it was a home invader because this is my home. I didn't react. I didn't give him the time to present to me these obviously fraud documents because it is
Y'all
my
fill
home.
out all that
It's a
paperwork
home
if y'all want
invader.
to. Y'all better come in there shooting.
But that's the issue. Well, I'm not sure it's an issue, but that is potentially a reaction we might see more of. Maybe not in New York because of like as you pointed out, this issue is in Texas. It's in every state. Obviously, there's more nuances to it, but in states like Texas that are Second Amendment friendly, the sentiment of shoot first, ask later is I don't know if it's growing, but it seems like it's growing.
I mean, if they're in your house and you have the
Yeah,
right to
sure.
defend it, like that's
Plain and simple.
kind
But
of
the
what needs
problem is
to
if they
happen.
invoke squatters' rights. So if like that's the issue. Like if it's
How?
your actual home,
How?
yes. But if they're going after a rental property, I
How?
unfortunately I don't know how to what.
They're not invoking shit from the grave, is what I'm trying to tell you. You
Well, I
open
think in
that door,
Texas,
you hear some shit you're not expecting, unless it's your birthday or your birthday's around the corner, come in pistol toting and shoot that shit up. Fuck that. But if your birthday just recently passed or your birthday coming up, it might be a surprise party. So you might not want to shoot.
At the end of the day, it's just more lawyer fees. Because if you think about it, you either have lawyers fees from trying to defend yourself for self-defense and to castle doctrine. Then you got lawyer fees dealing with them trying to do this stupid like eviction.
There will be no
And then you got
lawyer fees from
that
that sheriff.
squatter, right? The squatter hunter fees if you try to just do it that way. Like either way, it's dumb that you got to pay money to get someone out of something you actually own.
well, I think in
I
Texas
agree,
it's
but
less likely to happen because you have to have it in 10
one.
years.
You, go ahead, sit down.
Well, the 10-year mark has to happen. So like they have to have been on the property for 10 years before they can finally invoke squatters' rights. So it's only like if they're trying to get ousted of their house. As at least in my interpretation. If you show up and they're there and you have the property of the house and they can't prove that they've been there for the 10 years, then you totally can enforce your property.
From my
So
understanding, you still have to go through the eviction process. So you can't just kick them out of the home. If they claim inhabitants, you have to go through the eviction process.
coroner is gonna take them out of the home. I don't think you understand it. The coroner will move the body gladly for you. What I'm telling you is that sheriff told that guy, shoot a little bit better, get your aim right. We're not pressing charges. It's the police's job to come up with the charges,
Enforce.
and then it's the prosecutor's job to try and make them charges stick. Now, if the police do not want to press charges or don't feel they don't have the proper motivation to pursue it, then less paperwork. And less paperwork.
What
You
I'm
get
trying to
shot
point out
through
to
my
Doc,
thing.
what I'm trying to point out to Doc is I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Doc, specifically regarding the Texas and the Tinder thing, you think that if a squatter goes into an uninhabited home, and if they're not in there for 10 years, let's just say a week, they haven't reached the 30-day mark, just a week, you think that the homeowner can go in and just say leave and forcibly evict them?
As far as I
Yes.
know, yes. I mean, I
From
don't.
my
Because I can go
understanding,
on vacation. So I can go on vacation and come back and the crib gone just like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
No, not in
No,
Texas. Not in
no.
Texas.
Like if
No.
you live in there and you go on vacation
I
for a week and you
I
come
don't
back and
live
there's
in
a guy that's
Texas
been
and I
in there for a
refuse to
week,
accept that.
you can't. You don't have to go through the
Probably
eviction process.
probably not in your actual residential home because obviously there's like I'm talking about specifically rental properties and the common cases of how the more common cases this happens is with rental properties and obviously and landlords. They have properties, they either trying to sell them or rent them out. It's inhabited for uninhabited for a period of time, and people go in and claim occupancy. In those situations, specifically in Texas, if they do that, even if it's only been a week, from my understanding, you still have to go through that eviction process. Granted, you're more likely to win because they haven't gotten the tenure thing. It's just the issue is you still have to pay an X fee to go through the Y process to get the Z results.
I don't think. No, I don't think you have to go through the eviction process. I think you can call the cops and they'll come and they'll take them.
The problem is, from my understanding, what cops then will say is it's a civil matter. You guys have to handle this in civil court. That's where the eviction process happens, from my understanding.
I'm not
Because squat,
Who as the homeowner?
because to John's point earlier, the cops don't want to deal with the paperwork and the issue. It's a civil matter, so the cops, because of how shitty the laws are, will not deal with it and force you to go through the eviction process. That's the issue. So you're
I
probably
think.
right, but the
I think it's
problem is
only
the
if.
police aren't enforcing it.
I think it's only if. Well, for one, if you're in a liberal city in Texas, that might
More so.
more so be leaning towards your argument. But I think you only have to go through the eviction process if you had a previous deal with the person. Because at that point, like that's a civil matter because you're ending the deal or whatever, and you're trying to work it out to see when they leave, when they can leave. You're obviously trying to give some accommodation.
I think you're applying logic, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Like that obviously logically makes sense, but when it comes to implementation, that's not what's happening.
I don't
I
think
could
so,
be.
man. I don't think
Hey,
in Texas, yeah.
I maybe we both got to look up and figure it out because I could be wrong. From my understanding, like that's how unfortunately it goes about. And that's why it sucks. That's why literal squatter rights suck because someone can just go in your home and do that. Obviously, we don't have extremist examples in New York because it's a more liberal area with obviously Second Amendment stuff going on. But that these
Y'all are
situations still
ignoring the
happen.
actual answer here is to shoot them. If there's somebody in your crib, you shoot them. It's like it
I'm
just
not saying I disagree with you, John. I'm just saying
and then after that, did they claim anything? No. They were in my crib. Guess what? Guess what? You as the homeowner, when you enter the crib with your gun, you get to pick what court it goes through. Do you want me to go through real estate court or whatever the fuck you have to go through, civil court, or
I'll look into this later, but I'm pretty sure that you unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong. Like I don't want to say I'm right because I want to be right. From my understanding, this is how it works, and I hope Doc is right because that makes sense. But how it's implemented never makes sense.
I'm only thinking that way because of I know there's a lot of guillotine rules in Texas where it's just like, oh, the moment somebody decides to do something, it just happens at that moment. Like I know everything in Texas is at will for labor, so the moment your employer decides to just fire you, like you're done. And I would imagine it's the same way with eviction.
And I think when in our specific discussion argument, I think the specific point that needs to harp on the most is when it comes to the city, because I think in non-liberal cities that's probably never the case because like you said like it's more likely the police probably know the community or more likely to be like yeah get the hell out, whereas in liberal cities like I would not say the cops don't want to implement the laws, but there's probably other local laws in place that probably tie their hands as to why that might likely be more likely the outcome that it should not be.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I 100% agree that like if they don't have ownership there and you want to defend your property, man, like hey, do what you got to do. But at the same time, if the person's been living there for 10 years, you want to be a dick and just kick them out all willy-nilly. Nah, man, like that's messed up. You
10
can't do
years is
that.
reasonable. I'll be honest with you. 5 years is even reasonable to me. If somebody's
Yeah, I was
been living
actually
in
say
a
10 years
place
is
like
Yeah,
pretty
that,
good.
yeah.
10 years
I
is
can't argue that.
extreme.
10 years is the hard number for everyone's like, dude, you're being an asshole. Like this person has been here for
I'd
10
not
years. Like,
honestly at that point. I'd ask the renter like, "What have you been doing here for 10 years? Why don't you bought your own place yet?
It's not
10
rent to
years?
own.
some people they just
Yeah,
can't
it'd be
swing it,
wild.
man. Some people
Renting for 10 years would be wild.
10
some people
years.
can't
Jesus
swing it, man.
Christ.
That's why I think 5 years does make more sense because I think it's very unlikely that someone's gonna be renting for 10 years. And these
There's a
kind of
squatter that pulled off a 10-year heist.
he deserves it at that point, right?
I mean, I can only hate but so much, my boy. Like
Because we
10
already got
years?
it. Our society already has a commitment issue with itself. So if they're able to
Is that
commit to
not
a squat,
capitalism?
I mean, bro, if you duck
Is
people
that not capitalism? The
in
squatter?
squat for 10 years, when the dude finally shows up 10 years later, it's just like, I'd be like, nah, dude, like, you can have it. Like, you beat me.
that's funny.
I had 10 years to figure this out, and I didn't.
What if you go? What if it's like a old, like a home that aunt gave to you or something like that? You never visited it. 10 years go by, you go into the crib, but the house is beautifully kept, already immaculate, everything like
Oh,
birds
100%.
chirping.
If it's under my name still, I'm shooting him immediately and taking ownership. Like, nah, it's mine now. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Joke. That's a complete big. That's a joke.
Gene is done. You know, what would he do with
I'm
the place?
just kidding. I'm just
I
kidding.
what you did with the place.
What you do with the place?
Man,
But that's
just
also
off.
another reason why I think they try to put in laws why squat rentals usually people can't like do crazy renovations because for that reasons like that. Like you can like
I
paint
get
stuff like that, but you
30 days.
can't do like crazy renovations.
We get 30 days.
Um,
Like, you can't install fucking pole dancing poles in the living room and shit like that.
that's
Illegal.
wild. All right, let me read some comments and let's close it out. Miss Chrissy responded saying, being in the multifamily housing industry, I haven't personally dealt with this, but know of coworkers that have, and the eviction process stands with squatters. Unfortunately, it's not a fast process either. So, yeah, it's just the situation is all kind of murky. It does, like I said, and I hope I'm wrong. It doesn't seem like the laws do not make logical sense. Like
You
I'm
don't
not
want to
saying
date and haven't been addressed because it just doesn't. It sincerely doesn't make sense. The law sounds like it's an overreaction to something else that happened.
or it's just an old law that needs to be revisited because apparently the guy said something about squatters' rights in like the 1800s, something like that. Like it seems like something
Yeah, that
that
was weird.
hasn't,
I kind of wonder what they meant by that, or like what the situation was for them to do that.
yeah, maybe there's more context that we're missing that might explain it more, but it still comes to the conclusion that like it's if not an outdated law, a law that needs to be updated to be more modernized to this current situation and climate.
Because I feel like, and obviously, like Miss Chrissy would know more, having been in the business. But at least from my perception, the only thing I can think of for these 30-day like rules for squatters and stuff like that that exist in New York and like more liberal areas is that there's more companies in those liberal areas, and so the companies themselves buy real estate, and so at a certain point in time, they're a little bit more colder when it comes to evictions simply because like it's a fucking spreadsheet that they just adjust and all of a sudden like people are getting evicted when the adjustments happen. And so I can understand if at that point the humanitarian thing or the humane thing to do is to be like, oh no, they've been here for 30 days, like just because you decided to drop a chunk of the real estate as a corporate move, you can't just kick them all out and stuff like that. But then you have people that are obviously exploiting it, which is the problem now.
Yeah, it's just something that It comes back to my point, man. We just got to come back to America and shut things down and be like, we got to do a mass healing because we desperately need it. America needs the heal in a lot of departments. All right. Any last points? Any last things?
Nah.
All right. I think that's enough fake deep thinking. Thank y'all for tuning in. Us talking about some squatters issues and some. Honestly, the Squatter Hunter Flash probably the best one in my opinion. That was hilarious. If y'all haven't liked the video, please like
I
the
want to see
video.
him in full form.
What do you mean?
Full
In
Flash.
full form, I honestly think
Full
that
Flash.
job. I think really, I'm gonna be honest with you. The real Squatter Hunter series, the Squatter Hunter is lesser known comedians, and you literally give them all the information on who they're gonna go squat with, and they just plan out scenarios. Every episode is just a comedian having their way, whatever squatter is in the way until they fucking leave. Have jackass crew there. Like I'd be walking around the crib butt ass naked.
I'm
I'd do
not
a
gonna
whole
lie to you.
bunch of
The same thought. I'm just gonna walk around naked. Screw you. You gotta see my naked form the entire time you live in here, bro.
I'm finna
Taking a
gain
dump
weight.
with the door wide
And I'm
open.
finna gain weight.
Melon. Not showering,
Every
bro.
day.
I can only imagine like the reality TV like camera pans to
Use up
him,
all the hot water.
and he's just
I'll
like,
be
you
farting
gotta
everywhere.
squat the squatter. So you just gotta get
Every
into
time
the
you
squatter's
replace the
mind and
tissue
out squat
roll,
them.
by the time I'm done with that shit, it's one tissue piece left. All your soap, a little bit left.
Yeah.
Toothpaste, almost out. Every
Every time.
time. Your juice, little corner in the juice. Don't have nothing to eat. You're not eating well. You're not sleeping well. I promise you. It's just not gonna be fun for
Bang
you,
on the
son.
door. You're not
And
sleeping, are
what?
you?
Are you
You go to work, I'm sleeping. You come home, I'm up all night.
That's tragic. All right, y'all. Again, like, share, comment. See y'all next time. Peace.
Yo, thanks for making it to the end. We really appreciate it and hope you all enjoyed the show.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and the notification bell to get notified when we post our clips.
Follow us on Twitter at PodcastFDT. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are all fake deep thinking. Check us out, please.
FDT. Peace, y'all.
Peace.